Hello, my lovely friends, and welcome here to we have Neptune officially entering Aries today at 6:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on March 30th, Sunday. Neptune will officially enter Aries for the first time since, get this, 1875. It's been a long time since we've experienced this energy. As a matter of fact, the last time Neptune entered Aries was technically 1861. It retrograded and it went back in 1862. Let's see what interesting and tidbit information historical happened during that time. Civil War, maybe. Yeah. So that just kind of gives you a sense of some of the energies. I'm not saying we're going to have a war. We'll get to that in just a second. So this all is going to affect us, our world, socially, but it's also going to affect us personally as well. So check out the videos that talk about your sun and your rising sign. That's going to give you a glimpse on how this huge revolutionary spiritual change is going to affect you personally. But globally, I did want to talk a little bit about the overview. The last time, like I said, Neptune made this transit was during the Civil War, 1861. It retrograded just like it's going to do this year. It's going to be with us until October 22nd. Then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces, and then it's going to go back into Aries for good on January 26, 2026, 2026, yes, I love those numbers, 126, 2026. So anyway, it has been a long time since we've encountered this energy. This shift is going to usher in a brand new chapter for all of our lives, for our world, but for our lives. It's going to affect us personally in ways that we really can't even imagine. We really can't. You think about all the changes that happened during that 1861 to 1875 period. Now, Neptune, just to give you a background really quickly, has been transiting Pisces. It's the ruler of Pisces. It's been 13 years. And Neptune loves Pisces. We talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about how planets like to be in certain signs and how cozy and comfortable they get. And they say it's in its detriment, or if it's in a sign that's it's not comfortable with. But sometimes being in the sign that you rule is not always good, because when it's been hunkering down with Pisces, it's been dreaming and lollygagging and being, a little delulu. Stuff has been going on with Neptune and Pisces. No offense with Pisces or Neptune people. You guys are fabulous, but you see, Neptune sees with its heart and its soul. It doesn't always see things for what they are. I kind of think of it when I think of Neptune being in Pisces for 13 years. I kind of think about it like your adult child who might come home and live in your basement for 13 years, eating your food, watching your television, lazing about, talking about, I mean, really, like talking about all the big dreams and plans, but never doing anything about it. That's the danger of having Neptune in Pisces. And that's what happens. When a planet like Neptune gets too comfortable, it's nothing against them. I love Pisces and Neptune energy. It's the best, because wouldn't we all love to have 13 years, being taken care of by our Pisces parent? Of course we would. But now that Neptune is leaving this cozy nest and entering get it done Aries for the first time since 1875, there's a lot of change. We have a lot of change. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. Pisces is the death, is the end of zodiac. I don't mean literal death, but the ending of the zodiac. This is the birth time. Pisces is the ending. And when Neptune has taken 165 years, 185 years to circle the zodiac. And now it's at its new beginning, its brand new spiritual cycle. I mean, think of this as a time for a spiritual renaissance, a spiritual rebirth. Now, I've discussed the astrological term anaretic several times. Whenever something is 0 to 1 degrees or 28 to 29 degrees of any transit, it's called anaretic. And it's the most potent and important point of any transit. So it's even more potent right now because it's at the beginning of Aries, at the zodiac. Now, we have Neptune in Aries until October 22nd, 2025, where it will retrograde. All the planets retrograde. It'll retrograde back into Pisces for just a little bit, one last little visit. It'll go, Mom, please take me back. She's going to go, no, you got to go out into the world. And it's going to go back into Aries January 26, marking this new cycle around the sun. And even though it does do that little retrograde, what's going to happen between now and October 22nd is not only going to give us a preview, it's probably going to set us on the path. And another thing to discuss is our outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Pluto already made its final move, thank you, into Aquarius back in November of 2024. Now, all the other planets are moving and shifting this year. So we have a lot of shifts coming up for us in 2025. And this Neptune shift into Aries is just the second of the big planets. Pretty soon Uranus and Saturn are shifting. Now, again, Neptune is all about illusion and delusion. Okay, it's an oversimplification, but there's a lot of illusion when Neptune is involved. And whenever we've had a strong Neptune placement, like we've had for the last 13 years, that's a prime. I just want to mention this. It's a prime terrain for cult leaders and cult followers, people that follow paths that really don't make sense logically, where people are the victims of delusion and group think and confusion. It's because of the confusing air of Neptune, the Neptune fog. And we have certainly seen that happening over the last 13 years. But now that Neptune is entering Aries, it's not patient with things like delusion and illusion. Aries is the planet that's going to slap Neptune out of the Delulu stage and set it free and force it to face reality. It's almost like Pisces mom kicking Neptune out of the basement and making them go into the army and to boot camp. It's going to be that kind of blah kind of feel to it. So be ready for that. Neptune's focus for the last 13 years has been lovely. Things like connectivity, humanity, empathy, spirituality, the idea that we're all one. But now that we have Neptune in Aries, individuality, independent thinking for ourselves, thinking for ourselves. Those are qualities that are going to be showing up in our lives and in our world. At a personal level, we're going to be reshaping our identity by setting new spiritual goals for ourselves. Things that were once important to us, like, having that McMansion or having that boat or having that, Jaguar or that Lambo. That's not going to be as important for most of us. Most of us are going to go through a spiritual rebirth. Well, we'll be doing less watching, being less receptive, less drifting passively. That's Pisces. And blind faith. That's Pisces. And a renewed focus on autonomy and establishing what sets us apart from each other. Because Aries takes great pride in being the individual. So that this recent trend of falling in with the gang mentality that we have seen globally is going to disintegrate in the next 14 years. Another trend we might be seeing in the world of art and business are identity-driven businesses, small mom and pop boutique types of businesses that are individual, a business that you can call and someone will answer the phone. I'm talking to you, Facebook. We will see less of these one-size-fits-all mass marketing conglomerates like Amazon and more personal, small, curated businesses with an individual touch. Businesses that promote authentic self-expression. Businesses that answer their own phones. Those are the ones that are going to thrive and succeed. And because Aries is about discovery, Neptune's transit through Aries will emphasize things like space travel, deep sea exploration, but also exploration of the consciousness will be extremely highlighted during this time. And going off on our own. maybe even going off of the grid. We may hear way more about people that gather together and are creative and go move on a mountaintop and create their, go off that grid, opting out of systems, systems that we don't trust anymore. And we, you know, there has been a light shining on some of it's been true, some of it might be fake news, but you know, we will be finding out. We might be like distancing ourselves more and more from things like healthcare systems that we are finding that are not reliable. And that's also going to coincide with the recent North and South node in Pisces and Virgo. So that's going to coincide with that. But Aries is an independent sign. And anything that threatens their individuality or their freedom will rub them the wrong way. There's a lot of talk about Aries being ruled by Mars. Mars is the god of war. And while I feel that there definitely will be conflict and protest and resistance, because that's Aries energy, that doesn't mean war, but it means reclaiming the natural order of things like independence, freedom, especially freedom of speech, anything that limits what we can read, what we can think, what we can say, our freedoms, those movements that we've been experiencing as of late, are not going to fly anymore now that Neptune is transiting Aries. It's just going to be a huge period of adjustment. None of this is going to happen overnight. This is a long-term process. This is 14 years in the making with a retrograde in October, of course. But we also have other planets changing signs. Pluto just went into Aquarius. Uranus will go into Gemini very soon. Saturn will move into Aries very soon. We'll have some retrogrades, but we're going to have an inevitable sense of chaos during 2025. But do know that all of these changes that are taking place are really setting the stage for the next 13, 14 to 25 years of change, because that's what we're going to be going through. So check out your other YouTube videos for your sun and your rising, because that's going to give you more of a glimpse of how this is going to affect you personally on a personal level. But this video was more about the global, the big picture for Neptune into Aries. And I, for one, am looking forward to it. I think this spiritual change is something that we all need at this point of our evolution. So let's all think good thoughts and let's channel those good thoughts, because that's what Neptune is all about. Neptune sees with its soul, with its heart. It doesn't see through earthly eyes, it sees through spiritual eyes. And so let's all challenge ourselves. Even though it's in Aries, that means we can really challenge ourselves for that spiritual growth. I'm wishing you all the best, sending you all so much love.